Namaste, friends, and welcome back to the podcast. This week, I am sharing with you a practice from my Returning Home to Yourself series, which I am offering on Substack. So if you are one of my readers, one of my newsletter readers, you get these practices. If you're not, then I highly encourage you to become one, because 2 to 3 times a month, I send out a practice that helps you return to your body, return to the present moment, calm your nervous system, and go inward and reconnect with yourself. And so I wanted to offer this one here so you could get a taste of what that is like. And if you like it, then use the link in my show notes to sign up for my Substack newsletter, and you will get access to all of these practices. The one we're doing today is called Ujjayi. It is a very common breath practice used in yoga class. If you go to a regular yoga class, you may have heard your instructor talk about Ujjayi breath. But commonly, people forget the breath the moment that they walk off the mat and out of the yoga studio, and they really don't use it in any other part of their lives. And this is a really, really powerful breath for calming the nervous system and bringing you into the present moment. So I would love to see more people using this breath off the mat as much as they do on the mat. So I go through why the breath practice is so powerful and how to do it. And then we practice together for a few moments. And in the show notes, I'll let you know at what point the actual practice comes in, so that if you want to go back and do this again, you don't have to listen to the whole first part. Once you understand why it's a powerful breath and you understand how to do it, then you can just fast forward to the end and we can just practice together at the end. All right. I hope you enjoy. And like I said, if you want to receive more of these practices, they're really a variation. Sometimes it's breath, sometimes it's meditation, sometimes it's a somatic practice or a gentle movement. And I think I'm going to start adding in some yoga classes as well, some 20 to 30 minute flows for calming the nervous system and returning to yourself. I also sometimes give you journal prompts. So lots of different ways of returning home to yourself, to your body, to your breath, to the present moment, to your intuition or that inner calling, ways of being able to access that deeper inner truth within you that you are looking to bring out, that you can, hear it more clearly so that you can feel guided by yourself, by your own internal wisdom, and you can feel safe and present and grounded and rooted in yourself. So I hope you enjoy this. And like I said, use that link in the show notes to sign up if you want to receive more. Namaste. Namaste, friends, and welcome back to the Returning Home to Yourself series. Today, I'm going to guide you through an Ujjayi practice. Ujjayi is a type of breath work. If you have ever gone to a yoga class, it's probably a phrase or word that you have heard before, because it is the type of breath that we use during our vinyasa or our movement-based classes. And I'll go through some of the reasons why this breath is so powerful at calming our nervous systems, and then we will practice together. So Ujjayi breath is done by putting a slight constriction in the back of the throat. So just a very slight tightening of the muscles in the back of the throat. And I do want to emphasize slight here, because this breath shouldn't feel forced. It shouldn't feel too contracted or painful. It's just a very small narrowing of the back of the throat. But what happens, and I should say that we breathe in and out through the nose for Ujjayi breath. All the breath comes in and out through the nose. So when we're breathing in and out through the nose with this very slight constriction in the back of the throat, the air is now passing through a slightly smaller channel. And because of that, it actually creates a sound. And the sound is reminiscent of the sound of the ocean. And so Ujjayi breath is also sometimes referred to as ocean breath. And I'm going to do it for you now so you can get an idea of what this sounds like. Okay, so you may be wondering, well, why would I want to do that? I could just breathe deeply and slowly. Why this slight constriction of the back of the throat? Why this ocean-like sound? Why is that important? So we're gonna go through that, and then we're gonna practice together. So Ujjayi breath, by placing that slight constriction in the back of the throat, what happens is that we naturally extend our exhale, meaning that our exhales tend to be just a little bit longer than our inhales. And when we do that, it is a signal to the body, to our nervous system, to move over into a parasympathetic state. So a sympathetic state is your fight or flight, right? When we're feeling anxious or scared, we're in a sympathetic state. Our parasympathetic state is rest and digest. So this is where we feel really relaxed and calm and peaceful. And we can manipulate our own nervous system by doing certain things that signal to our body that it's okay to be in that parasympathetic state. It's okay, you are safe to be in rest and digest. And one of those things is to breathe deeply. So overall, just breathing deeply, which we do with Ujjayi. And the other is to not only breathe deeply, but to make our exhales longer than our inhales. So you may have heard of a 4-6 breath. That's where you inhale for 4 counts and exhale for 6 counts. What happens in Ujjayi is that your body naturally does that. So you can leave the counting out of it. You can drop the counting. If you just participate in this type of breath, your body will do it on its own. The other thing that is beautiful about Ujjayi is that sound, that ocean-like sound, that your breath makes, because it gives your mind something to focus on. And it's focusing on something that is a neutral sound. If you've ever used a white noise machine to sleep, you may know what I'm talking about, that our brain likes that neutral background noise. It helps us to have the thoughts kind of fall behind the noise or drop away and get quieter. So we're just creating that white noise, so to speak, with our own bodies. And so not only will we breathe more deeply and we elongate that out breath, but we're also creating this sound that gives our minds a place to rest, especially when we are feeling very anxious, when we're in that sympathetic state. This slow and controlled breathing stimulates our vagus nerve. So that's the longest nerve in the body. It runs from the base of the skull all the way down through the throat and the chest and into our entire abdominal cavity and innervates every organ in that cavity. So hugely, hugely impactful on our nervous system is this vagus nerve. And when we participate in this breath, once again, we are telling the nervous system it is okay to be, you are safe and you can be in a parasympathetic state. And the other thing it does is it creates just a very, very gentle pressure in the chest, in the interthoracic cavity, which is in the chest area. And that slight pressure also helps to stimulate the vagus nerve. So it's not just the slowing of the breath, but it's that slight pressure that is telling the nervous system, you are safe to relax. Okay, so what we're going to do is I'm going to practice along with you for a few rounds, but then you're going to hear me pull away because I don't want you to be listening to my sounds. I want you to hear your own sound coming from you. Know that in the beginning, sometimes it's harder to make that ocean-like sound on the inhales. For many people, it comes just more easily on the exhale. So if that's you, if you're having trouble making the sound with the inhale, don't worry about it. Just keep practicing and it will come, and enjoy the sound on the exhale. Again, this is a very slight constriction in the back of the throat. Please be soft. Please don't overforce this. If your throat starts to get tired, which in the beginning, when you haven't practiced this breath before, it can happen. There's muscles in the back of the throat. That's what you're constricting, are the muscles back there. And so if you are not used to using them, they could get a little bit tired, even if you aren't overforcing it. So if that is you, just release the hold, release that constriction, and just breathe deeply in and out through the nose, making your exhales longer than your inhales. And if you feel after a little bit of time, you've had some rest, that you can reconstrict those muscles, then you can do it again. And over time, as you keep practicing this breath, those muscles will get strong, much stronger, and you will be able to practice this breath for an hour or more without any discomfort in the back of your throat. And if you are a yoga practitioner and you haven't already integrated this into your yoga asana classes, your classes, movement-based classes, I highly recommend it. So before we begin actually practicing the breath, I want to practice how to make the sound of the breath. Because I'm sure you're thinking, how in the world do I constrict the back of my throat if you've never done that before? So we're going to do a few things to help you identify the muscles back there, and we'll practice those a few times, and then we'll go into the actual practice. So what I would like you to imagine doing is imagine that you have a mirror in front of you and you want to fog up that mirror. So how would you do that? You'd probably take a big breath in through your nose, and then you would let it out through your mouth with the ha sound, right? H-A. So let's practice doing that, inhaling through the nose. Okay. So forcefully, right? If we're trying to fog up a mirror, we're probably doing that pretty forcefully. So let's do it again. Inhale through the nose. Okay, so when we do that, when we make that ha sound coming out our mouth, that actually creates a gentle narrowing in the back of the throat. It's just naturally what happens. So let's try that again, but this time we're going to whisper the ha. So instead of being very forceful with the air coming out, we're going to meter the air that comes out. We're going to let it come out slowly and over time. So we'll take an inhale through the nose, nice and quiet. Right? So you may notice there's a big difference between an inhale and then a sharp exhale where we force it all out at once, and an inhale and a slow, quiet exhale. What happens? Well, the exhale becomes a lot longer. It just naturally becomes a lot longer because we have a certain volume of breath that goes into our lungs when we inhale. And if we forcefully push it out, it's coming out like a fire hose, right? Or you can think of it as just like your garden hose at full force. But if we are trying to be very quiet with our exhale, we still have the same volume that is going to come out, but it's like there's a small kink in the hose. And so the air has to get around the kink and it can't come out as fast. And it just naturally elongates that exhale, which is what we want, right? That's what we're looking for. And we also create that little tension in the back of the throat. So try it again with the whisper to see if you can feel that slight sensation of tension in the back of the throat. Okay, feel free to practice that as many times as you need, both the forceful exhale and the quiet exhale, to try to start feeling into those muscles. Then the next thing we'll do, the next step to getting to Ujjayi, is to close the mouth and imagine that you're whispering ha, right? So you're not actually doing it because now the mouth is closed, but we're going to imagine that that's what we're doing. So let's close our eyes because it's much easier to visualize when we block out the external world. We take a nice inhale and imagine saying ha. Okay, now take a few moments. Feel free to pause this audio. Practice as many times as you need to feel comfortable at identifying, okay, that's where it is. That's where those muscles are. And also know that if you're a beginner at this, sometimes you just lose it. You have the muscles, you have the little constriction, and then all of a sudden you're like, wait, where did it go? I lost it for a second. And then you'll get it back and it's all normal. Let it be soft. Let it be spacious. Let it feel good. I mean, really, that is the point of this whole practice. It should feel soothing. It should feel good. And you'll notice as you do this that you actually can feel the air passing over that space in the back of your throat. And that actually feels really lovely when you get used to that sensation of this nice, smooth air passing over the muscles in the back of the throat. If at any point it feels tight, scratchy, forced, strained, like painful in any way, that is the moment where you step back, you relax the muscles, breathe normally, just inhaling and exhaling through the nose like you normally would. And then just keep your exhales longer. At that point, just choose to keep your exhales longer, but release the muscle tension. And then if you feel like you've gotten a rest and you want to try again, then you can come back and try again. While you're doing this practice, I highly recommend that you close your eyes because when you close your eyes and you do block out everything around you, it's much easier to tap into the different sensations. It's easier to hear the sound of your breath. It's easier to feel the sensation of the air passing over the back of your throat. So I do highly recommend that you close your eyes. So let's begin doing this practice together. As I mentioned, I will do it with you for a few rounds, and then I will become silent so that you can really tap into the sound of your own breath, your own Ujjayi. And it doesn't need to be loud. It can be very soft and quiet. It can be so quiet that no one would hear it besides you, even if they were standing next to you. So please don't worry about it needing to be very loud, but it's loud enough that you can rest your mind on it. Okay, so let's begin this together, closing the eyes, nice tall, straight spine. Our nice straight spine allows that chest to be open and free so that we can really take nice deep inhales and allow our chest to expand in every direction, forward, backward, and from side to side. So a nice relaxed posture, but a straight spine. Shoulders back and down. Maybe a little tuck of the chin. And then we'll inhale and exhale through the nose with that little constriction in the back of the throat. I'm going to be silent now. Just allow you to hear your own breath. The mind may wander, which is normal. If it does, bring it back to that sound, or maybe the sensation of the air passing over the back of the throat. Or maybe you notice that with every exhale, the body softens and relaxes. And maybe you tap into that sensation. If the throat feels tired at any time, just releasing the muscles, letting them relax, and continue breathing deeply in and out of the nose, making your exhales slightly longer than your inhales. We'll practice about another 20 seconds. Maybe returning to that constriction in the throat if you've relaxed the muscles, just getting a few more rounds of practice. And then if you are in the middle of a breath, just waiting for the next exhale to come. And then releasing everything, returning your breath to normal. And if you have the eyes closed, gently blinking them open. That was 3 minutes of Ujjayi practice. Good job. I commend you. And this is a really powerful practice. So if you just spend 2 to 5 minutes a day working with this breath, you will become a pro, and it will start to become part of your regular routine where you can go to Ujjayi breath anytime that you need it. In a moment when you feel anxious or scared or overwhelmed or angry, this is a beautiful breath to go to. And you may even find yourself doing it at random moments in the day. I find myself slipping into Ujjayi when I'm doing the dishes or I'm driving in the car. And it's almost as if the body knows when it needs a little break on the nervous system. It needs a little reset, and you just start naturally slipping into this breath. So I highly encourage you to come back to this, repeat it over and over. When I put this recording fully together, I will let you know at what minute I begin the actual practice in the recording, and that way, once you don't need that beginning teaching part anymore, you can just fast forward right to the minute where we start the practice. Okay, I hope this was helpful. Namaste, friend.